And welcome back to another episode of the Baseline Bums podcast. It's your host, Rob, a.k.a. B-Ball Archives, and once again, I got the bums in the house. Adam, AJ, what's happening? We got some Olympic basketball to discuss.
We've got Kenny Powers in studio with these red sunglasses.
Adam and I are going on a cruise this weekend, and I'm super excited. Drink package on deck. We are here. These glasses are coming with me. I'm in vacation mode, but we have a lot of things to talk about. We have a Final Four, gentlemen, of the Olympics, which is pretty exciting. Kind of want to jump a little bit into that. Where do you guys want to start? Should we start with Team USA and their domination, or should we start from the 4 o'clock a.m. start time of Germany and Greece?
You know what? Let's just start with a nice American win.
America's first.
Yes, of course. We absolutely dominated Brazil today. There was no two ways about it. AJ, how are you feeling about that game? We absolutely clapped cheeks.
I mean, it's expected, right? We were supposed to do that. Like, finally, we looked like a Team USA that came out, and they were like, all right, here we go. I knew it was dominant because I got sleepy watching it, because it turned into just a lot of one-on-one and like silly passes and like let's try and make a highlight. So it got a little sloppy there towards like the third quarter when we were blowing them out. But overall, everyone looked, pretty on point. There was a couple of times in there, Anthony Davis looked like he was playing for the New Orleans Hornets at the time. I mean, that dude looked great. Everyone looked really good. Even Embiid had himself a decent game, looked a little rough early on. But other than that, I mean, that was a pretty dominant performance, and I expect the same with Serbia. The only chance that we can get knocked out is in the gold medal round. So I think it's a good start to the tournament.
I think to start with us, we looked good. I think we were up 25-30 after the first half, and we were talking, pregame. Rob, you were like, how much are we winning by? And I think I said 22, and we were up close to 30 at halftime. Nobody on Brazil was going to give us any stretch. We were the number one seed coming out of qualifying, earned the easiest quarterfinals game probably. There were some pretty good teams that got knocked out, and Australia, Greece, some good players that Canada, who I predicted to be in the finals against us, got knocked out. So, there were some good teams that were eliminated, and we came out today, we took care of business. I continue to worry about Joel Embiid being in our starting lineup. And I think if we do, and we will make it to the finals, I could see a team like Germany who can step away from the basket and play in pick and roll, giving us a little bit more difficulty. But we looked good. We're doing what we're supposed to do. We're by far the most talented team in the world. It's not close, and we should be winning by close to 30 points a game.
Yeah, I totally agree. And just to piggyback on what you said about Joel Embiid, just seeing how he plays in drop coverage is really just disappointing, because he has to drop off from his opponent. He can't press up on anybody that has a mid-range shot or a three-point shot. So if he's playing in drop coverage, you're expecting that player to at least defend the paint or at least protect the rim, and he's not even doing that. He, even today, Caboclo, or I'm probably butchering his name, but he absolutely dominated him for little stretches of the game, and I was like, he looks better than Embiid, and that's just really disappointing whenever AD comes in and obviously is a better fit, and Bam comes in and he's a way better fit.
Yeah.
And so it's a little disappointing, but ultimately there's a lot of good things that are overshadowing the few blemishes we have.
I mean, we shot 57% from the field today. Shot just under 50% from three. I mean, we have the most talented shot makers in the world. I'll take it a step further with Embiid. Not only was he looking terrible defensively, from the very opening tip, he literally did not jump on the tip ball to start the game. I don't know what Philadelphia is doing, letting him play in the Olympics when he's clearly either not healthy, not in shape. AJ, you texted us earlier, is Joel Embiid on his career decline? And the answer is absolutely yes. He peaked with his MVP. Unless he loses weight or does something to get in better physical shape, Joel Embiid will only continue to get worse and worse. And with a U.S. team that should be playing up tempo and has the best athletes in the world, he's not a fit in that lineup. And Anthony Davis needs to be playing more. Joel Embiid should borderline not be playing. And I know that's taking it far, but I'm fine with him not playing. Put him on the bench with Hallie. Hallie and Tatum can go play 3-on-3 because the three of them are not really doing anything for our club at the moment.
If you're the Sixers and you see Embiid during this Olympic stretch, what are you thinking?
Fuck.
Yeah, I mean,
Holy shit.
I think that you're probably thinking, yeah, we might need to be ditching this guy sooner rather than later. And I hate to say that because he's literally just coming off of an MVP, but at the same time, it's it's tough to just see what we're seeing out on the court and be inspired by that.
Do you chalk it up to it's the Olympics, or because if I'm thinking about it, you didn't stop playing basketball not that long ago, dude. And if you get that bad and that out of shape that quickly, that's kind of alarming.
Well,
And
he wasn't fully healthy when he came back. He still hasn't fully recovered,
Well, he's wearing something on his leg. You can tell he's wearing stockings, but you can see right through it.
What if he's actually undercover for France? What if he's infiltrated our starting lineup and he's just in there to play bad? And no, I'm just kidding. That's conspiracy theory craziness. But
we're beating France with 4 guys on the court.
Absolutely, we are. But at the same time, let's just move on into France because I mean, obviously USA, that was just a complete beatdown. But yeah, France Canada, that was a good game today.
Great game today.
We were talking on a previous episode. We were hyping up Canada big time, and Adam, you mentioned earlier no Rudy Gobert, but still France comes out with the W. There was a lot of really good performances in that game. Yabusele, he literally came out of nowhere in 22-5. Even though Wemby only shot 2 of 10 from the field, he still, even though he only had 7 points, he still had 12 boards, 3 steals. He had that huge block in down the stretch of the game and actually led their team in dimes. So he was still all over the place, even though he wasn't scoring a lot. So that was a really good team win from France.
AJ.
I don't know how FIBA counts it, but I don't know if they count the hit whenever it's in the cylinder and they hit it out. I don't know if they count that as a rebound or just him knocking it out, or that's not a stat. But he had a handful of those, and that really played a factor in a lot of possessions for France. So I think they kind of figured it out. The big dude down low, Lassar, I can't pronounce his name. He's some French dude, but he was banging down low pretty hard, and I'm really impressed with the way that they played. I'm really disappointed in Jamal Murray. I think he kind of shit the bed pretty hard today. I don't know if it was real or not, but it looks like SGA posted something, might have thrown shade, and then I looked to his Instagram and it was gone. So that's an interesting take on that. And maybe we got a new little rivalry going on for the West here upcoming year. So, but hats off to France. They figured it out.
Well, Canada, I think it's undeniable that they have the second most talent out of any team. Maybe France is close in that to having NBA talent, but you're not going to be winning against even a depleted French team with a Wemby who didn't play up to his level whenever Jamal Murray and Dylan Brooks combined to be 4 for 22. Yeah. Two of their better players. Jamal Murray came off the bench, which was kind of weird to me.
Well, no, he deserved to come off the bench. He's been shooting terrible all Olympics, and even down the stretch in the NBA playoffs, he wasn't playing well in Denver. So literally over the last few months, Jamal Murray's actually been playing kind of ass. So I don't see why that's kind of a weird thing. Bro, he's literally hitting 1 of every 3 shots, averaging like 6 points a game in the Olympics. That's not good. That's subpar for his Sanders.
Sure, but he's clearly their second best player, and I don't think you're going to instill confidence in a player like that when you're bringing him off the bench. And, he did struggle a little bit against Minnesota, but in that opening series in the West, he absolutely dominated and was arguably as important as Jokic. So, yeah, he had a tough series against Minnesota. He has struggled. He struggled in the Olympics, but he didn't do enough to help them get it done. And for a team that doesn't have Gobert, Wemby shoots 2 for 10, and you're getting cooked by Yabusele and letting Fournier go off on you. I mean, how concerned are you, if at all, if you're a United States team that just saw a French team without Gobert and Wemby go 2 for 10? How concerned are you about that if you do meet them in the finals?
I mean, I think if you're Team USA, you have to be a little bit concerned, but not really that concerned, because like I was saying earlier on a previous episode, why Team USA would actually be scared of a team like France is because of the front court dominance. And if we're talking about Joel Embiid not really performing to his level of standard, that's just going to open up the door for the bigs. I mean, especially if they get Gobert back, that's just going to open up the door for, honestly, the French bigs to take advantage of some of these FIBA rules and snag some of these balls off the rim, and really just, kind of just beat some shit into the glass. And and we know how easy it is for those guys to make that happen. So I just think that with how our front court is looking and how shaky they are, that is a potentially interesting matchup.
I also think you have to think about the crowd too, because the crowd really got into it today. I mean, soccer level chants. They definitely, you can tell it rattled the Canada just a little bit. SGA missed 2 free throws at the end of the game, and he's not a terrible free throw shooter. But I don't know if you guys noticed this too, but I feel like there's been a lot of missed free throws by guys who normally make free throws. I don't know if it's the ball, the rim, or it's just a different atmosphere, but for some reason it feels like a lot of people are missing back-to-back free throws.
Yeah, I have noticed that as well. And honestly, what you just brought up the rim. I feel like the FIBA rims look like they're shaking all over the place whenever people are shooting.
You can hear it.
Yeah, have y'all been noticing that too?
Mm-hmm.
It kind of looks a little ridiculous. I'm not going to lie. I don't know if that's by design or what's going on with that.
I feel like shooting in general, you have a different three-point line than NBA players are used to. You have a different ball. The rims seem a little off. Like, even whenever I go play at the park now by my house, there's only a high school line. And I'm just not used to playing at the high school line. I haven't been for a while. So just even having to adjust to that feels a little bit different. I mean, obviously it didn't impact the United States team today. But I think just some of the rules in general, right? No defensive 3 seconds impacts how the game is. All these different rules of being able to hit it off the rim, the different ball, the different rim, the different everything. It's a little bit different, and I think it does give a little bit of advantage to some of those players that don't play in the NBA under the NBA rule set. One other game that I think is important to touch on a little bit is the Serbia-Australian game that went into overtime. I'm not sure if either of y'all got to watch that.
Man.
Obviously, Jokic carries Serbia in a pretty team effort. I think almost 7 players scored in double digits. I think it was 6, and then another guy scored 9. We're going to be facing Jokic in that semifinals, and want to get y'all's take on that game if y'all got to watch it at all. It did go to overtime.
I mean, Australia shit the bed too. They up 24 at half.
Yeah, they were up 24
at halftime. Giddy was getting to every spot that he wanted. Patty was getting to the bucket. I mean, it was pure dominance, and just Serbia just kept plugging away. And I feel that's kind of been the trend too with a lot of these FIBA games, is that a lot of people get off to a really hot start. Like, you look at some of the games against the USA, some of these teams got off to like hot starts, up 5-10 or whatever, and then just slowly but surely, like, you just chip, and then all of a sudden you find yourself like Serbia going into overtime and ended up winning the game and advancing.
Yeah, it was honestly, that was such a good come from behind win. That was one of the best rallies I've seen in a while, and it just hits the nail on the head and reiterates the fact that Jokic is the best player on the planet. 21, 14, and 8 in an elimination game like that. That's just next level. Getting everyone involved. Bogdanovic had a great game. It felt like every time the defense closed in on Jokic, he was able to kick out, and Bogdanovic was a huge reason why they were able to make that comeback today. I also like the high low that they're able to create with Jokic and Petrusev. Like, I think that either one of them can both play the 4 or the 5. They can step out. They both move very well, and they understand each other very well. So just their front court movement together, that's just a really, really well, like, just fluid offense. And I can't see them really giving us any trouble in the next round. But at the same time, I think that, it's not really a surprise as to why they're here.
One thing that we spoke about after we beat them in, qualifying and seeding was we were dead even with them whenever Nikola Jokic was on the court. In an absolute winner go home at the very highest stage of play, is it inconceivable to see Jokic playing every single minute, every single second of that game and giving us a run for our money? If any team's going to do it, obviously Germany, going back to FIBA, what they've been able to do so far, how closely they played us in qualifying, I think that you'd have to say that maybe they're the second best team in the world right now behind us. But if I'm going to be afraid of anybody, I'm not going to be afraid of the Wagner brothers and Schroeder. I'm going to be afraid of the best player on the planet. And we're playing them in the semifinals, and if he plays every minute of that game, especially with how our front unit, our starting unit, doesn't play up and down. And if we're going to play that half-court game, Nikola Jokic is going to be the best player in that half-court. And to your point with how they were playing their high-low, how Bogdanovic was playing, I think they could end up giving us a run for our money if we don't get out to a hot start.
If Jokic is hitting shots, we might be in for some trouble. If he's hitting outside shots and he's able to pull the bigs out, it's going to be interesting to see. But at the end of the day, our second unit is so strong. Like that, you can see a distinct difference whenever they come into the game because it is absolutely like firepower everywhere. You got Katie and Ant coming in together. That's ridiculous because our offense ignites as soon as they step on the court, and then it just is contagious from there. So, I think if the USA can just withstand a first hail from Serbia, they'll be fine, and they will.
Well, it's certainly debatable that our second unit's better than our first unit, and no other country in the world can say that. None of these remaining teams have the depth that we do, so in certain times we get stronger as we go to the bench, right?
I would say so.
Yeah, and it's not to say that we don't have enough talent in that front unit, but it's just a fit. It's just a matter of fit.
It doesn't work, man.
Yeah, and it's just really hard to sit there and see guys that are clearly bogging down the offense. We've already hit on Embiid, but I feel that same way when I see Tatum enter the game, and it's like, you're not furthering what we're doing offensively. You can't play within a role on a team where you are not the best player, and that's okay, but you're not just going to be as useful as a Derek White or a Drew Holiday or even a Devin Booker who can play with the ball or off the ball, somebody that has been very useful so far this Olympics.
I think Tatum's lost a lot of confidence in his three-point shooting. I think the last couple playoffs, this entire Olympics, he's really struggled with this three-point shot. And, even going to the finals and a couple plays that he's made today and in this Olympics, he's really struggling to finish at the rim. He came in today, had a great defensive possession, had a block immediately. I remember a couple moves that he made to the basket that looked really nice, and he's just bricking layups. And somebody as long and athletic as him, he shouldn't be shooting as poorly around the rim as he has. So I'm honestly bothered and annoyed that Steve Kerr is dying on this fucking hill of starting Joel Embiid. And I know we talked about it earlier, but what's he watching? Is he watching the same thing that we are? Is he seeing him clearly be inferior to Anthony Davis? What's going through his head? And whenever he continues to put Embiid out every single game, furthermore, you're the Warriors head coach. Get Anthony Davis in that game and get him injured. If you're the Golden State head coach, right? Play him more.
Wear him out.
Or I think for Embiid, he had a good game today. We can't deny he had a good game, but there's no pressure. It was a blowout at the end of the first quarter, so he was playing free. He was doing the suck it, and everyone was loving it and stuff like that. Or some people, the French really, really hate Embiid, and it's very clear when he's at the foul line.
He played well offensively at times.
Yeah, he did, but what were we playing for? I mean, it was Brazil, and we were blowing them out by 30. So, it really wasn't really for anything. It wasn't high stakes really. So let's see what he does against Serbia. But yeah, I mean, if we're talking about the trends, and these have been the trends. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I just want some kind of pride from him, because like what I saw even from the time when Joel Embiid was in the game is he wasn't better than the person that was guarding him. He was going up against Caboclo, and Caboclo literally dropped a 30 piece on his head, and I literally don't know what we're supposed to do to get some good defense from Joel Embiid on Team USA. It just looks like he's just destined to be out there wanting to take shots, but I don't know. I don't honestly. Maybe just Steve Kerr's like, hey, I'm just gonna save Anthony Davis and Bam and have this like second unit come in and save the day kind of situation. And I mean, I don't see why not just start with that. Just put your good foot forward. But at the end of the day, if we keep winning, there's little to criticize.
Yeah. Yep.
So we're down to 4. We're down to 4.
Germany-Greece was a fun game to watch, though. Greece can only go as far as Giannis can take them. That's really what it came down to. He was. It's amazing that he carries every team that he's on, and it's not even close. Like, he's literally just the heartbeat of every team he's on. And whenever he won that championship, I feel so happy for him. But, it's going to take a lot for him to get there again. But, shout out to Germany. They just kept going, chip. And then all of a sudden they just couldn't miss towards the end. So I'm a little nervous for the Wagner brothers personally. Just going to throw that out there.
Worried about playing them, or
if they're clicking and they're making shots, I'm a little nervous about it. Because I think they're the only two people that can actually keep up with the U.S.
And Dennis Schroeder turns into a all-star in these European or in these international settings. Him and guys like Patty Mills, whenever they have to be first option type players, really highlight, like, whenever you need a scorer, how good they can actually be. And that's like what makes the NBA special. There's so many guys that play in the NBA that could go get 30 any given night that don't, because they're 3 or 4 players on the team that are better than them that can do that as well. So it's like whenever Patty Mills or Dennis Schroeder play in these international games and are the primary scoring option, it's like they can do it. And Dennis Schroeder gave us trouble and gave the entire world trouble in FIBA. He's playing really well right now. The Wagner brothers are playing well. Who do y'all think wins between Germany and France?
I'm gonna put, if I was betting on it, I'd probably put my money on Germany, just because they feel like a more complete team at this point in time. And I was really impressed with how they were able to essentially keep Giannis out of the paint for so much of the game. Giannis finished the game with only 2 rebounds. He was literally limited so much with what he was able to do within just a few feet. And I think if you're able to do that, then you're going to be able to limit what France is really good at. So I think if you're keeping Wemby out of the paint and you're really forcing their perimeter players to hit big shots, they're going to need another performance from Evan Fournier like they did. They're going to need Yabusele to step up really big again in order to make that happen, because if Wemby's getting a lot of pressure from Tice and some of these other bigs on Germany, I mean, Mo Wagner, I think that there's a chance that France is kind of just put out of their element a little bit by some of these bigs that are able to take them out of their comfort zone a little bit.
As a Spurs fan, I'm really excited to see Wemby play in that stage coming off of the game he had today.
Yep.
Mainly, he shot, I think, 0 for 6 from 3. He didn't shoot or play super well offensively. Continue to do what he does on the defensive end and create problems for everybody. But excited to watch him on this stage. We were texting earlier about how it's exciting to see him win. He didn't get to do that a lot with us last year. And I'm happy for him that he's made it this far. It would be super surreal and exciting if if France does make it to the finals and we play him and somehow Wemby puts on a Manu Ginobili international type game and ends up being MVP of the Olympics. Obviously, that would be disappointing as a United States player, but like be kind of cool as a Spurs fan at the same time.
You know, it'd be equally as cool as a Spurs fan if he loses and comes back to Texas. So I think I'm equally excited for either scenario for Wemby. You know, this has been a great run for him. I think it's been fun to watch. And obviously, it would be great if he was in the gold medal game and everyone got to see his greatness like we do whenever we're losing 30 games in a row. But, you know, I'm also happy if they lose and he comes back to Texas and we get started with the new season. So it's a win-win for me either way. But, you know, Germany and France is going to be a good game. Definitely get your popcorn. Hopefully it's not on at, 3 o'clock in the morning or whatever that game today was. So I'll be able to watch it and we can actually talk more about it. But it's good. It's a good Final Four. It's a really good Final Four. I think I'm really curious to see if that France crowd shows up again because they're like Red France.
Speaking of France, I want to get Rob's take on Gobert playing just a few minutes. There has been some mixed reporting that he was hurt and that he was injured and that's why he didn't play. But the coach also came out and said after that it was matchup based. And I don't know if he's taking a page out of Steve Kerr's book. What do you have to say about that and what their coach said about Gobert and his lack of minutes today?
Well, to be brutally honest, I really don't think I believe that it was matchup based. I think that the only reason that you keep Gobert out is if there was some kind of tweak, some kind of injury. He maybe tried to give it a go in the morning and was like, damn, this is really not feeling that good. And you know, that's going to really affect something, kind of affect how your day's going to go. And when you're playing games within 48 hours, within 72 hours of each other, these injuries can pop up pretty quickly in tournament style play. And so it wouldn't surprise me if it was something that they were just kind of cautious about, and Minnesota was like, hey, hold on a second, we want to make sure that you're not going to go out there and do something that you're going to regret.
Yeah, like get COVID and give it to the entire NBA.
Right, and just rub on microphones and dumbass shit.
Okay, so since AJ and I are about to go paint Mexico red and drink and do all that. By the way, there is a 3v3 basketball tournament on this cruise, and AJ and I are going to cook. I'm going to be Jokic. You're going to be Bogdanovich.
Y'all are going to get cooked under the sun, you mean?
Yeah.
The tough part is it's day 2 at 5 o'clock, and we have a drink package. And AJ was like, I can't wait to play 3v3 drunk. And I'm like, I think it depends on how drunk I am on whether or not I'm going to want to play in that. Imagine we play these like 14-year-old kids and we throw up on them. Like, I just don't know if that's going to be ideal.
Dude, trip of a lifetime for those kids. They're going to be talking about it till they're like 50. They're like, dude, remember that time we played 3-on-3 and those guys threw up on us? Then we did it.
You're going to end up in cruise jail.
5-year-olds that literally died on the court.
You're going to end up in cruise jail.
Yeah. Is that a thing?
Yeah,
for sure.
There's a jail within the cruise. I saw multiple people go to the cruise jail. It was pretty funny. Yeah.
The timeout.
So seeing that, when is the finals to the Olympics for basketball? Do we know what day that's going to be?
I think it's the 9th, not the 9th.
Are we going to be gone on that cruise for that game?
We'll be on the cruise for the final.
So we might be able to recap whenever we get back, but we're not going to be able to film for the next, 9-10 days or so. I think it's important for us to give a prediction of each semifinals and the finals and the closest possible margin. We don't have to say score, but what is going to be, who's going to win by what? Let's go with AJ first. Let's put you on the spot.
Yep. I got USA by 12 on Serbia. Then USA is going to make it to the gold medal round. I got Germany by 7 against France, and Germany and US will play in the gold medal. USA will win that game by 4 points. And in the bronze game, I have France winning that game by 9 points.
I swear it's like you already had prepared that because that was very.
I was ready for it.
That was very concise. I'm impressed.
I've been
Rob,
thinking about it.
nice, Rob. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm thinking that we're going to handle Serbia. I think we're going to win that game probably by 20, 25 points, something like that. I think we're going to handle them pretty thoroughly like we did last time. So we're going to advance to the gold medal game. I'm predicting France to beat Germany. So I think the Paris crowd, the French spirit, they're going to will them past the Germans. And we're going to see a USA-France final, and I see USA coming out on top. I'm going to say about a 14-point win, France silver, USA gold, and Germany is going to beat Serbia in that bronze medal game.
Okay. My official prediction, I think we are going to get down by double digits to Serbia. I think we're going to be down at halftime, and we're going to end up winning that game by 2 points. And then I think Germany is going to advance to the finals, and we're going to put Germany on blast and beat them by 20 plus. And we're going to send Mo Wagner back to the G League. Yeah, where he belongs. No, he's a decent player.
I was about to say why. He's actually good.
No,
I like
fine.
his game.
I know. Like, I don't hate Mo Wagner. I'm just saying, like, fuck him.
Franz is such a dope name, though.
Franz. Yeah. So, yeah, but I think Germany beats France. I could be wrong on that, but I genuinely think we're going to get tested by Serbia. I think Jokic is going to come out there. I think that there's a chance that we get behind early with that starting unit and Jokic plays the entire game and we're down and have to make a comeback. I do think we'll win, and I think regardless of who we play in the finals, we're going to put them on blast. So, one topic before we go, AJ brought up the other day as something that we should discuss. And, it's in the past, these Olympics happen, right? And inevitably players talk about teaming up. Some end up actually teaming up. If there was to be any of these, superstar players play together, not necessarily this next year, but at some point in the next couple of years, who do y'all think would be the most likely players to team up? And it's tough because multiple players are on the Celtics. Like, they're not going anywhere. There's some difficult situations. I think there's a couple obvious names, but I'd be interested to see what y'all think.
Honestly, right out of the gate, just seeing how KD and Anthony Edwards are together, I could see KD in the twilight of his career just being like, you know what, I want to go play with Ant for a year and just taking, a smaller contract, maybe when he's 37, 38 years old, and just saying, fuck it, I'm gonna go do the thing next to my little homie. And so like I couldn't hate him for that, because seeing how their friendship has developed and knowing that, KD is Anthony Edwards' favorite player and, he loved him growing up and all of that stuff, that would just be a really cool full circle moment right there.
I think it's reversed, though. I think Ant goes to Phoenix because I don't see KD going to Minnesota and spending 6 months in the cold. Minnesota gets really cold, and KD has never done that before. So I can see Ant coming down to Phoenix.
I don't know. I sorry, real quick. I think KD's a hooper, though. I think KD is like I don't know. I view him as almost like almost like a gun for hire, in a sense where he's like, if you are gonna bring me on board, I'm gonna hoop. And so it doesn't matter if it's in New York, it doesn't matter if it's in Phoenix, it doesn't matter where he is. I think that he's gonna hoop.
Yeah, but I think he'll get bored in Minnesota. There's not many hoes over there in Minnesota.
He's in Phoenix.
Dude, you can ship him from LA. It's fine.
The bigger, okay, so I think the one that just Rob brought up is the obvious choice, right? I think if anything we've seen in the last few years, Kevin Durant's not the most loyal to any one franchise. And with how in a bind Phoenix is, if they don't make a big leap forward this next year, he's not going to be super loyal to that team, right? So I think him leaving, and people have talked about how much Ant loves KD. I think that's an obvious one to bring up. But how does he do it unless he just leaves in free agency? Like, what does Minnesota have to give up unless they're able to, unless they trade actual players, unless they trade Cat, unless they trade, why can I say his name right now? I mean, Nas Reed could be a guy, unless they trade Jaden McDaniels and they make it a player-based trade for KD. But most of the times when teams trade away a guy like KD, they're doing it to restart, rebuild, and they want to do that by getting first-round draft picks. And Minnesota gave away like 16 firsts to get Rudy Gobert. So KD's under contract, I think, for this upcoming year and one more year. So it is possible that, maybe he has 1 year left. He pulls a Paul George and is like, you better trade me or else you're going to get nothing for me. And they get 60 cents on the dollar. Are there any other guys that you could see wanting to team up based on this? It's tough because like 3 of the guys are Celtics and none of them are going to be wanting to leave their situation. I think Devin Booker is going to be more loyal to Phoenix than any. I don't know. I mean, Joel Embiid will probably team up with anyone he can to get a ring. I could see LeBron maybe hopping around, right? Like LeBron would be like, hey, like Minnesota,
Where they're
Boston,
saying,
like bring me around. Like I'm not loyal to anybody. Bring me and let me get rings.
well, now that Markkanen re-signed with the Jazz, didn't he re-sign or
No, that wasn't official, was it?
was not official yet?
I think they were just talking about giving him a big contract, probably
Yeah,
being like Golden State, we're going to pay him.
Yeah, well, like basically, the Utah Jazz were asking for way too much. Like they're asking for from us, Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, and like all of our first round picks, and we're just never going to do that. So I think if you're Steph Curry and you guys didn't really do anything or you didn't pull the trigger, I think Steph Curry ends up in a Laker uniform sooner than not. I think that's very, very possible here in the near future. Just, I mean, you look at the way they're hanging out with each other. They've been friends forever. LeBron loves Steph. He can trust Steph. I think one of the biggest things with LeBron is just trusting his teammates. If he throws the ball to Steph, he knows that ball is going to probably go in the hoop. So I think that's
Unless
another.
he's playing in a USA jersey.
Well, he shot well today.
Just kidding. He sucks. No, I'm just kidding. Steph's trash.
So we'll see.
I mean, honestly, yeah, it's tough to see who would team up because a lot of these guys are on such big contracts and it doesn't make sense to move them from their situations. You would be just uprooting so much of what these franchises have been putting together to move these guys. But just 2 guys I have seen that have played well together and who I actually think would play really well together have been Booker and Bam. Like
I was thinking that too.
I really think that both of them together, they complement each other very well, and it's almost like Bam can play at the high post and Booker is a bigger guard, can be out on the block, and just the way they move, and it just seems like they understand each other. So I don't know if it's Booker that needs to go to the Heat or Bam on the Suns, but I think that would work.
Devin Booker would love Miami, I think.
Yeah, and I think the thing is Matt Ishbia wants to be the one trading for big talent, and I'd have to look at obviously their cap situation's brutal, so they couldn't absorb an extra dollar. They'd have to make the money work specifically, and I'd have to really look at how many first round picks they have left after they made that deal for KD, right? But that's a good one. I think that Steph Curry, does he retire a Warrior? If he doesn't, does he give it a go with LeBron in LA? Staying in California could be interesting. But I think the ones that y'all brought up, I think Bam and Booker would be a potentially sneaky one to team up, right?
Yeah. No,
Yeah, that's a good one.
Not only from a personality fit, but just a skill set standpoint. Like, I think that they'd be really good, and this Olympics was just a shining example of, wow, they can exist on the court together, and it looks really good.
Facts.
Wemby and Fournier.
I think Fournier had his stint in the NBA, and honestly, let's not shit on Evan Fournier. Dude was in the NBA for 12 years.
Yeah, and
Don't Google.
He played really well today, for sure. Well, there's a couple things that I just want to touch on the USA game. We had a few things happen. First one, Jason Tatum dropped his new shoe. I don't know if you guys had a chance to see it. It's okay. It's fine. Not my favorite personally, but I'm excited to see the additional colorways.
I'm excited to see
LeBron
all
James.
6 kids wear that.
What?
I said I'm excited to see all 6 Americans wear that, kids, after the shit performance he's putting on.
LeBron James had to get 4 stitches after the game because he got that elbow from that bazillion dude. So he has 4 stitches in his right above his eye or his left eye.
Oh, shit. I saw him complaining for a while and acting like he died, but he actually got hit.
He actually, like, you can see the elbow
He did.
come down, and like
Okay.
he definitely got hit. And then also in fun U.S. Olympic history, KD becomes the all-time leading scorer today. So he now owns that record, and does some nice little quick tips.
And shout out to Lisa Leslie, who he passed in
Yep.
an all-time Olympic scoring for men and women. That was a really big moment. Shout out to Olympian legend Lisa Leslie.
Yep, nice. Well, boys, there's anything else you want to talk about before we dip?
Let's talk about Cruz.
Kenny Powers.
Honestly, I wish y'all the best of luck in your cruise 3-on-3, but I just hope y'all don't get hurt. I just hope you don't roll an ankle and then you can't enjoy the rest of your trip. I just be safe out there, guys.
But you know what? If we do, we're definitely rolling on it, and we're showing it to you guys when we get back.
Oh yeah.
Hey, I've been hooping very averagely, but I was cooking in 3-on-3 today in preparation for this. So
I'm ready
here.
for some. I'm
I
ready
just
for
like
some
not-
bingo.
I like not
I'm
having
ready
to play
for some
full
craps.
court. Yeah.
Ready for some slot machine tournaments. I'm going to do the slide. It's going to be awesome. Here we go. I'm going to come back with a nice deep tan.
The
gonna look
Windjammer
great.
buffet.
I'm gonna look like Alex Rodriguez when I get back, dog.
Okay, A-Rod. Well, that's been a good episode of the Baseline Bums podcast. Once again, I've been joined by the Bums, Adam, AJ. Thank y'all for joining me, and I guess I'll see you when you get back from your cruise.
Yeah, and one more, obviously if anybody listening has made it all the way this far, which I know a lot of you loyal listeners have, and we appreciate you. Feel free, please give us a thumbs up, give us a like on whatever platform you're watching, give us a follow if you're unsubscribed. Shout out to our most loyal listener, Ty Stovall, who I know watches every episode from beginning to end. My boy, he was wanting a shout out. So, we're starting to get more views. We're starting to get more subscribers on YouTube, and we appreciate all y'all for following along this journey. Hopefully y'all get some insightful tips from us talking ball and just enjoy coming out and vibing us, looking at Kenny Powers over here, Hispanic Spurs fan Kenny Powers. And we appreciate you. And as always,
It's Go Spurs. Go